This is video number 3 for section 8.5, solving literal equations. This is really just a small issue. We've seen literal equations before this semester. Those are the ones where there's lots of letters, and when they tell you to solve for a particular letter, they're not asking you to end up with r equals 5 or something like that. They're just telling you, take this formula with all these letters in it and rearrange it so r is by itself on the left and all the other letters are on the right. Well, the strategy is the same. If you see an equation with fractions, you want to clear the fractions. So we've been doing that by finding the LCD. This guy is very easy. There's only one denominator, so the LCD would just be the 1 plus RT. I'm going to take that and I'm going to multiply both sides of this equation by that LCD. So 1 plus RT on the right side, and be careful here, that would need to be in parentheses, 1 plus RT on the left side. On the right side, the fraction cancels. That's the whole point. That's why we did it. So goodbye, goodbye. Those are just ones. On the left side, I now have this parentheses times the p. I guess I might as well multiply that out. So I'm distributing this p to both parts. So that's p plus PRT. And on the right side, I just have the a. Everybody else disappeared. Okay, I've cleared the fractions. That's all I've done so far. Now I go back up here and I say, okay, who am I trying to get by itself? Oh yeah, the r. So remember how these work? This is where you just pretend that r is the only letter and everybody else is just a number. Well, if r is the only letter, then you need to get everybody with an r on one side and everybody without an r on the other side. So I need to lose that p there. I would now have p times r times t. These are just timeses in here, equals a minus p. Those are not like terms, so the best I can do is just write that down. Well, I just want to get r by itself. I can do that by simply dividing by these two coefficients, p and t. So divide both sides by pt. The p's cancel, the t's cancel, and I'm done. The final answer, r equals a minus p over pt. The r is by itself on the left, and all the other letters are over on the right. So solving a literal equation when there are fractions involved. As a final comment in this set of videos, I just have kind of a warning for you, kind of a watch out thing. My experience is that a lot of times after I teach this lesson, everybody feels like, wow, every time I have fractions, I can just wipe them out. Okay, that is simply not true. Take a look at this example. This is something we did earlier in the chapter, where you're being asked to add a couple of fractions. Don't do this, okay, because you might look at this and say, oh, the LCD is 2x, so I'll just take 2x and multiply here, and I'll just take 2x and multiply here, and look, the 2's cancel, and the x's cancel, and so here's what I have. Well, that is just total garbage, okay? You can't wipe out fractions unless you have an equation. Only equations can you multiply both sides by the LCD. You don't have any sides in this guy, so don't do any of that. If you want to add two fractions, you're going to get a fraction. That's how it works. You're still going to find the LCD, yes, absolutely, but not to wipe out in this case, to change. This is one of those ones where you have to change each fraction to have the lowest common denominator. In the first guy, you would do that by multiplying the top and bottom by an x. In the second guy, you would do that by multiplying the top and bottom by a 2. Once the denominators match, you add up the tops, x plus 2, bottom stays the same. Here is the answer. When you add two fractions together, you get a fraction. There's no wiping out of any kind. So just make sure you practice all this stuff sufficiently so that you're not making these kinds of mistakes. You will find a number of great practice problems on the 8.5 handout, and I would very much recommend that you go through and work a lot of those problems before heading off to the homework.